The drama queeners from Yappersville have already sold out a couple of sizes with the drama queen graphic tee. Yes, the t-shirt I would be wearing if I had a Fortnite skin. Check out the link in the description box below, or alternatively, head to dramaqueen.myshopify.com. Creating a Weird Girl Olympics is only something none other than TikTok could do, whilst making themselves sound like that one Jughead scene in Riverdale. Shivers in 2016, ew. Or those cringe-ass quotes that we posted in high school to Instagram. Sometimes I get so weird, I even freak myself out. I'm not weird, I am limited edition. It's gotten to the point where the discourse surrounding who's a real weird girl and who's a fake, inauthentic weird girl has strayed so far away from the core issue it is people had from the beginning, which was being a little bit irked out seeing that their former high school bullies who bullied them for being weird are suddenly propping themselves up on TikTok being weird because suddenly weird is cool at the moment. Almost adopting the term as an aesthetic, sure, has upset a lot of people. The conversation surrounding who's authentic versus fake weird girl is being lost in judging those based on their appearance archetypes and even projecting their own internalized issues towards complete strangers who did not have anything to do with once making them feel like they are beneath the dirt, that they are less than for being weird. Much like with the discourse with the nerd out trend over on TikTok, everybody wants to be different, be seen as authentic, quirky, and rare amongst the sea of basics, when in all actuality, they're more like those who claim to be a weird girl more than they think. If you truly are a weird, quirkster, big chungus girl, you're not going to feel the need to announce it to everybody every single day over on social media. Performative seems to be the new buzzword in replacement for poser, as the statement, "I can tell when their swag is performative," seems to be this kind of inner projection of themselves, thinking that they are not different enough. Swag is inherently performative in some aspects, as you cannot 100% for certain say that you're looking this way just for you, especially if you are posting TikToks with your hair brushed, with your makeup done, with nice clothes on, with a clean room. Because there is a factor of you wanting people to think a certain way of you. You don't want people thinking that you're unkempt and that your room is a complete pigsty all the fucking time. Hence, why you put on makeup for the TikTok, hence why you're brushing your hair for the TikTok, hence why you've picked up all the monster cans off the floor so that nobody says anything. And you know what that is? That is kind of a performance, is it not? We are all performing by posting to social media as the quote best version of ourselves. By making TikToks judging somebody based on your meter of what classifies as being real swag versus performative swag. These TikToks are creating issues where there doesn't need to be any. We quite literally already have a term accusing somebody as posing as something that they are not. Poser! I'm scared this is what people think of me because I've been told I look like a copy-paste alt girl. I've been emo since middle school. The problem is, a lot of you people think that you need to constantly prove something to somebody, that you are authentically yourself, that you're different, you came out the womb emo. Don't worry guys, I've been emo for 6+ years. I was emo in middle school. Trust me guys, I'm emo. What are you trying to prove to anybody in that statement there? This commenter is doing nothing but proving the original TikTok's point in being scared and anxious and fearing what people might think of you in terms of being performative, being fake, being not a real emo, you are further adding to that narrative to be true. Nobody, not you, not me, none of yous came out the womb alternative. None of yous were born a weird girl or quirky. You become that with experience of being a human. In accusing one of their swag being performative, maybe you are insecure that you're coming across the same. Fully convinced actual weird girls are an extinct species now. Interesting. I don't want to hear about your niche obsession with metal bands and Hello Kitty. Show me your unusual closet and themed kitchen. Ah, yes. Show me your consumerism and don't say anything about something that you actually have deep, extensive knowledge on, because it's not what I constitute as being weird. I mean, let's be real here. This TikTok has absolutely nothing to do with wanting to get to know weird girls up in their comments. It's about judging people on very surface level knowledge you have about them. Weird girls aren't hiding underneath rocks at the beach like mud crabs. They are everywhere around us. You might be one. I might be one. Your fucking dog might be a weird girl for all I care. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this discourse has become very weird and very judgmental. Show me your hidden folder on your iPhone and let it be filled with a single celebrity crush. Tired of these performative weird girl ex-cheerleaders. So now we're judging people based on an activity they participated in at school. I knew a few cheerleaders when I was in high school. You know, they weren't particularly the nicest people to me. Maybe it was because they didn't like me. Maybe it was because they were cheerleaders and I wasn't one. But I'm not stuck on what some dumb 13-year-old thought about me when I was 13 and dumb too. And it's no hate towards anybody who hasn't moved past what has happened to them in school, because trust me, a lot of the stuff I haven't moved past either, like having shit thrown at me, like being dared to be asked out, having a secret folder on your phone filled with just Jonathan Davis pics is quite literally no different to yapping on about corn and how much you fucking love corn and how much corn changed your life and how you know every single member's pets' names. It's no different from having an obsession with a fucking cat plushie either. I don't know shit about Hello Kitty. I don't. Sorry. I think what is slightly strange is how we've come to gatekeep being weird. Do y'all not understand just how weird that all is in of itself? Comparing different interests to other interests and trying to find that fine line of what constitutes as being weird and what doesn't, that it's probably time to delete TikTok and do a little bit of a social media cleanse, because I do not care about people this much to wonder if they're a real weird girl or if they're just performing. When, just by the way, all of the TikToks we're going to be speaking about in today's video, these people are all performing. They're all inherently performing because they look good. They look kept. Their backgrounds are nice. And it's kind of just like, do you guys not know what performative actually means? Because I don't know when the fuck it became cool to be this much of a mean girl. I don't know when the fuck it became cool to be an arbiter of what is and isn't weird. Being somebody who was bullied for being strange in school, I am not going to project that onto literal strangers who had absolutely nothing to do with that trauma. The fuck do I care that Jessica, who I've never met, who was a cheerleader and the most popular girl at school, calls herself a weird girl now? I'm too busy trying to work past what people did to me back then that have given me lifelong issues. I can tell when your weird girl aesthetic doesn't come from the heart. It's performative. It's honestly quite concerning just how many teenage girls and women were mentioned in the comments under this TikTok, almost trying so hard to lift themselves up by putting down the quote-unquote fake weirds. Like, are we serious? In the year 2025, people, we don't have world peace just quite yet. We're actually straying really far away from it at the moment. We have dickheads going back and forth with each other on what constitutes as being a weird girl and what makes you a performative weird girl. But all that aside for just a moment, I do understand the frustration of seeing people who once made you feel like you were beneath their feet, made you feel like you didn't belong and that you were out of place because of being weird, suddenly adopt a weird girl persona because it's cool now. But it wasn't cool when you were in school. You had to hurt. You had to suffer. You had to be in pain every other day. You were throwing up in the mornings. You were having nightmares about what people were going to do to you at school. You were physically sick all the time. You couldn't bear the anxiety and the depression. But to see that these people are adopting a weird girl persona, yeah, it is frustrating and it would get people pissed. It feels like shit. It feels like you went through all of that just for the same people to want to be what they bullied or tried to bully you out of. I do think though that there are a lot of disingenuous voices in this conversation trying to turn it into the male version of asking somebody, can you even name 5 songs? Considering you're wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt, yeah, one of the more popular metal bands. When was the last time that George Fisher farted? I bet you don't even know about Chris Barnes' smelly poos. Yeah, you'd have no idea. My fear is that someone thinks my weirdness is performative. I promise, I'm cool, just not now. Oh my god. What are we doing? Y'all do realize that none of what people think about you is even real. It's not true. It holds no validity because these people don't know you. What do I care that some stranger thinks that I'm not goth enough because I listen to many different genres of music. Why would I care about that? Why would I care about their opinions? I know what I am, because I am whatever you say I am. And these videos that are posted to TikTok are made by people who are inherently performing by creating a video for tens of thousands of people to see. Hence, why they made the stupid fucking TikTok in the very first place. Is it not embarrassing to see that there are hordes of people on this app complaining about fake weird girl, performative weird girl? I genuinely cannot imagine being a teenager in the big 2025, because imagine a new insecurity is being manufactured to make people feel as though they aren't enough because actually your whimsy is very performative. I can just tell that you're a weird girl and your whimsy doesn't really come from the heart. It's not in your soul, because me, the actual weird girl, can see right through it. Like, I'm sorry, but all of these conversations are falling on deaf ears because of the amount of judgment that comes along with them. People who are actually weird and whimsy, you won't ever see them judging people for being not weird or whimsy enough in their eyes, because what's happening here is that it's another font of conformity. People want you to conform to their idea of what constitutes as being a weird girl or being whimsy. But that doesn't sound very weird or whimsy, does it? Sounds like you're being judgmental fucking assholes. You can tell when someone's reposts are performative and not a true representation of their soul. What are we saying? What are we saying anymore? What? Like, I feel like people over on that Forbidden Clock app learn the new word of the month and run with it until it doesn't mean what it's defined as. The thought has never even entered into the playing field of my mind that somebody might be performative because what they're reposting has nothing to do with their identity. Well, I saw Jessica posting some sad girl shit even though she bullied her ex for being a sad boy. Maybe he or they was a shit cunt. And in that case, deserved. Social media is a show. It's a performance that you all participate in, yet will judge those who you think are performative. If the main concern here is the fact that people are not authentically being themselves and that they're fake. Last time I checked, being a weird girl has nothing really to do with politics. Being a weird girl isn't a culture. So like, what? Why are we creating fake scenarios to get mad at? that. Everybody preaches shit about how they want authenticity, but won't allow people to be themselves because when they see somebody being themselves, they don't register that as being authentic because to them, they're seeing a mirror, and what reflects to them is they're doing the same shit, aren't they? These people are afraid of being perceived as performative. Like, sure, are there now ex-high school bullies who used to bully people over being weird, adopting a weird girl aesthetic to be cool? Yeah, that is probably most likely happening. But what we keep forgetting with these conversations is that those people are trend hoppers, and next week, they don't want to be a weird girl. So you're safe. You're more of a real weird girl than them. One thing that I've come to notice about a lot of these weird girl Olympians is the fact that it's always the same conformative appearances that they want these weird girls to fit into. Therefore, you can't be a weird girl because you don't have these strange interests like painting art with your own period blood. And look, I don't think that's weird whatsoever because a lot of our ancestors did that shit, yeah. And blood is like cool and edgy and rock on whatever until it comes out our uspus. But weird isn't this culture, it's not this political leaning, it's not a subculture, it's really merely a word to describe something that is strange, that's a little bit, that's weird. Like these TikTokers, they're being really fucking weird. The more niche and underground you are has nothing to do with how much of a weird girl you are or are not. A lot of weird people that I know that are in my life are into some pretty mainstream shit. No context, no further explanation, no shade, but I feel like a lot of y'all's hobbies are performative and you doing them to prove you have hobbies. Who is doing this? At this point, we're just making up fake scenarios in our heads to get mad at. And with this scenario, I don't even know why you would be mad at somebody who's faking to have a hobby anyways. Accusing people of having hobbies to hide the fact that they don't have hobbies so they have hobbies is rather fucking weird, This is quite literally why people are too scared to be themselves in 2025 because it either has to be performative to generate attention or you're genuinely weird, swag, or a farming sayaboo. Having a performative hobby, quote unquote, versus having a real hobby is quite literally the same fucking thing because what are those two people doing? They're doing the hobby. Maybe somebody is more into that hobby than the person who's faking having that hobby, right? The only instance in which I think that would be harmful on the person who's faking having that hobby is if they're trying to spread misinformation about that hobby because they're faking it. They're not really into it. But also, how the fuck can you even tell if someone is faking to have a hobby? This TikToker, by the way, was coping so hard in the comments by saying, like, I have hobbies. I'm not going to tell anybody about them because I actually have the hobbies. I actually care about my hobbies. Bro, this is not a hobby competition. There is no hobby Olympics. You look really fucking weird for even beginning this conversation anyways. I for damn sure would hope people would rather be performing their hobbies, being performative hobbyists, than to be on TikTok where it's rotting everybody's brains because we constantly have to give these people platforms to spread this stupid opinions. Yes, I'm pissed off because I am so tired of seeing these fake arbiters of what makes you real, what makes you authentic. None of yous know because these TikToks sound incoherent as it is. This TikTok was inherently performative because you're trying to generate validation of your opinion. There is certainly, most definitely, a conversation to be had about those who were once complete shit to actual weird people in school and are now adopting that persona because it makes them look cool. They adopt these weird traits in hopes to become more attractive to the people that they're using as a trend to appear cool, to appear deep, to appear to actually have a personality. However, for the most part, none of these TikToks were talking about that. It's genuinely weird people being accused of being a trend hopper when the people who are accusing praising the actual weird people for being inauthentically themselves are doing just that, themselves. So with all of that being said, everybody, I just had to make a video about this because I saw a TikTok, not gonna tell y'all which one, but I saw a TikTok and it was my final straw with this topic. I can't stand shit like this. So if you have any thoughts or opinions or anything that you think that I should know down the comment section below, let me know. Or email me at dramakweensubmissions@gmail.com. Thank you so much for coming and joining me again in Yappersville today, everybody. I love you all so much and I hope to see you again soon. Take care of yourselves and most of all, love your fucking selves. And please stop caring about what random cunts on the internet think. They'll never meet you. They don't know if you're being authentically yourself or not.